listen, do your grounding as much as you can. Do whatever you can. Protect your field, especially for those that are chosen ones and you have a divine calling and you have basically a mission over your life, right? It's different. You can't do all the things that other people can do and basically get away with it, right? There's a whole energetic world and reality outside of our everyday life and 3D senses, and there's different levels to the chosen ones or those that have a divine calling. Not all of us are walking the same path. We have similarities in what we're meant to do as far as the grid, and we're all meant to vibrate to high octaves of frequency and be the flame holders and the light bearers, the frequency holders, right? All of that. But what that looks like for each chosen one is different. Everybody's path is different. And I'm saying that, like, even for myself, because, like, I sometimes talk about it in some videos. I was born a seer, right? I was born someone that is energetically able. I'm able to see energy that doesn't have physical form. I'm able to interact with it. I'm able to tap into dimensional energies and dimensional realms, So I grew up this way, This is something that I was born with. Now, I had to learn how to navigate throughout life in order to sustain myself so that I would not wind up in a position where I'm like in a insane asylum, or someone's putting drugs in me, or I'm taking medication, things of that nature. We're all multidimensional beings, right? And we all have multidimensional abilities, capabilities. It's just that some beings or chosen ones, depending on our path or whatever have you, we were born or we come in already activated, and then some people get activated later on. I'm just somebody that came in already activated and then further became even more activated as I continue to expand and grow. And the reason why I'm making this video is because for chosen ones that are devoted to this spiritual path, the more that you keep upgrading and you keep ascending and you keep getting to a space of transcending all of these particular energies, and faith, basically doing the work, doing the inner work, doing the shadow integration work, doing all of the work it entails, right, to set yourself free, to be embodied in your essence and your nature, and to fulfill your calling and your mission, which is to be that high vibrational frequency holder and things of that nature. The more you continue to do that, it's not like none of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, it's not like any of that stops. It might be different for every, like I said, every chosen one as far as how the experiences might go. But the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, the opposition is real, right? Because not only are we vibrating high to such octaves, high octaves of frequency, we are emanating and holding a particular light signature, right? That is a signal to a lot of beings and entities within the grid that feast off of light, that feast off of energy, right? Because everything in this universe vibrates a particular frequency, energetic signature. Everything has a light signature, and frequency and energy is the real currency, not money. When you see how the energetic realms operate, and even how this matrix system has indoctrinated us to look at money as such the omega, or look at everything on a surface level, but there's a whole reality outside of our everyday whatever indoctrinated five senses that they told us we have, when it's way more, right? And so, yes, I'm making this video to say, because even like for me, as being someone that is a seer, and I said something in a previous video, and I was like, you would think by now that I wouldn't go through certain things, or that these energies wouldn't try me. But they do try me, at times, because I do continue to keep vibrating to high frequencies, and my light is only growing more bright and more stronger. So they look at it like, sometimes, like, if we could get this particular person, it's a come up. And when you were getting into spaces where sometimes we get comfortable, and I'm speaking for like the chosen ones, like I said, for everybody that has, it's different for everyone. For people that's living like a regular life, and they going through stuff, and they getting siphoned, and they going through all the energetic things behind the scenes, but they just don't know, and they don't care. They're distracted, and they're caught up in life. But for those of us that have a calling, we can't afford to get caught up in the distractions of life the way others can, or the way they can operate, because we are the target, you know what I'm saying, many of times, because we are operating at high frequency, and we're emanating these high, like, we're like beacons of light, right? And if energy is the omega, and you have these entities and things that like to feast off of light, of course they're going to try to set plays in motion in order to try to, get to that food source, right? And so they have to keep upgrading the plays, though, because, like, for me personally, because I know about all of these things, or I know what goes on within the energetic realms, because I've witnessed these things, and I've experienced countless of things throughout my life by trial and error, like messed up things that I've gone through, dealing, with just different scenarios, that was all necessary in order for me to gain the knowledge that I needed, on this path that I'm on. But, I found myself slipping, as far as I haven't been being as diligent as I was at first with my prioritizing my energy and what I've been consuming. Now, it's like I said, everybody's path is different, and it's different for everybody. But like I said, when you're a chosen one, or you have this particular path, you can't get away with things that other people can get away with. So they could probably put an immense amount of junk or things within their body, and it's not going to have an adverse effect like it would on you, especially because you're being targeted, because you're vibrating at such a high signature, and you're like this extreme beacon of light. So there's plays being set in motion for you. So if you go and consume things that's disrupting your frequency field, these things are looking at it like that's a win, and they setting up, like, it's chess moves. They setting up energetic plays behind the scenes in order to, basically infiltrate your energy. Now, when you operating at a high frequency, it's not that simple. It's not like, you just eat something and these things can have access to your energy or get you in a certain way. No, they really play chess moves, like, as far as how they orchestrate things in the energetic realm, whether they utilize other beings to come into your field. That's another thing. Be careful of the beings that you keep in your field as well, because these beings, because that was another thing I slipped up on too. I let somebody into my field, as far as just being around someone, because I normally stay to myself, and I don't really let people in. I don't hang around people much. And because of my situation, I've been, having this particular person around me more than I should have. And we don't operate the same, on the same frequency, on wavelength. And a lot of beings have attachments and things. And when you allow certain beings that are unworthy of being in your energy or your space, and let's just be honest, it's not to put anybody down, it's just really levels to things, and it depends what path you're on. When you allow certain people to be in your space and things of that nature, you are kind of inviting in whatever is with them. So a lot of times these energies are setting things in motions by utilizing other people or just different tactics in order to further try to break into your field. So this is just a reminder to be mindful for those of the chosen ones, and do your best to ground, protect your energy. Don't hang around people for too much that are not of the same frequency resonance. Like, just don't do it. And prioritize how you take care of your energetic field.